Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Matthew Abdul Haq Niami, back at you with Al-Furqaan Foundation. And again, today is May 5th, of course, but in the Hijri calendar, this is the 12th day, alhamdulillah, of Ramadan. So we'll be starting today reading again from the clear Quran. And let me share my screen here for just a moment so you can see what I'm doing here. So this is the clear Quran that I'll be reading from. It's a translation by Mustafa Khattab, who did his degree in Islamic studies from Al-Azhar in English. So mashallah, he's in that rare Venn diagram of people who know their tafsir well and know their English well, mashallah. And so this translation, he's he integrates the tafsir sort of seamlessly into the translation without adding lots and lots of long footnotes or complicated parentheses or anything. So mashallah, that's what makes this translation one of the best for dawah. Because sure, if you want a more like scholarly translation that goes into a lot of detail and maybe is closer to the literal Arabic or what have you, if you're more familiar with Arabic, then that's the right translation for you. Maybe like the study Quran or something. But if you're going for very literalness close to the Arabic, maybe Arbery. But if you're going for easy to read modern English that any person with knowledge of modern English and a fitrah can read and recognize the voice of Allah in that, this translation is the one you want to go with. So mashallah, we use it, we give it out for dawah. We give it out, you can see a picture of it here, this black and gold copy here, the paperback English only translation. We give that out so you don't have to worry about tahara. And mashallah, you can support our dawah efforts. We'll go over that in a little bit, but also take a look if you want to get a copy of the clear Quran. We have an edition for kids that just came out that mashallah has been 3 years in the making. And mashallah, it makes the Quran very accessible for kids, inshallah. So please take a look at that. It's a great gift for the kids for Ramadan, for Eid. So anyhow, let's get to the reading here. Today we'll be starting with Surah Al-Isra, Surah 17. And as usual with the clear Quran, every surah has a brief description at the beginning to just kind of give you some of the highlights, so you know kind of what you're getting into. If you get the hard copy version, there are also subject headings which make the context even more clear. Mashallah. So anyhow, I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin by the name of Allah, the most merciful, most loving. And here's the introduction to Surah Al-Isra, the night journey. Since Abraham alayhi salam is praised in the last verses of the previous surah as a role model for the world, this Meccan surah speaks of how the Prophet ﷺ is honored in this world through the night journey from Mecca to Jerusalem, then to the heavens and back to Mecca all in one night, verses 1 through 60. He ﷺ will be honored on the day of judgment through the station of praise, where he will make intercession. See verse 79. The children of Israel are referred to passingly at the end of the previous surah, but more insights are given about them both at the beginning and the end of this surah. The key to success in this life and salvation in the next is encapsulated in a set of divine commandments, verses 22 to 39. Along with a warning against Satan and his whispers, the surah is critical of the pagan arguments against resurrection and their ridiculous demands. Criticism of attributing partners and children to Allah is carried over to the next surah. So we begin by the name of Allah, the most merciful, most compassionate. Glory be to the one who took his servant Muhammad by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs. Indeed, he alone is the all-hearing, all-seeing. And we gave Moses scripture and made it a guide for the children of Israel, stating, do not take besides me any other trustee of affairs. O descendants of those we carried with Noah in the ark, he was indeed a grateful servant. And we warned the children of Israel in the scripture, you will certainly cause corruption in the land twice, and you will become extremely arrogant. When the first of the two warnings would come to pass, we would send against you some of our servants of great might, who would ravage your homes. This would be a warning fulfilled. Then after repentance, we would give you the upper hand over them and aid you with wealth and offspring, causing you to outnumber them. If you act rightly, it is good, it is for your own good. But if you do wrong, it is to your own loss. And when the second warning would come to pass, your enemies would be left to totally disgrace you and enter the temple of Jerusalem as they entered it the first time, and utterly destroy whatever would fall into their hands. Perhaps your Lord will have mercy on you if you repent. But if you return to sin, we will return to punishment, and we have made hell a permanent confinement for the disbelievers. Surely this Quran guides to what is most upright and gives good news to the believers who do good, that they will have a mighty reward. And it warns to those who do not believe in the hereafter that we have prepared for them a painful punishment. And humans swiftly pray for evil as they pray for good, for humankind is ever hasty. We made the day and night as two signs. We made the sign of the night devoid of light, and we made the sign of the day perfectly bright, so that you may seek the bounty of your Lord and know the number of years and calculation of time. And we have explained everything in detail. We have bound every human's destiny to their neck, and on the day of judgment we will bring forth to each person a record which they will find laid open. And it will be said, read your record, you alone are sufficient this day to take account of yourself. Whoever chooses to be guided, it is only for their own good, and whoever chooses to stray, it is only to their own loss. No soul burdened with sin will bear the burden of another, and we would never punish a people until we have sent a messenger to warn them. Whenever we intend to destroy a society, we command its elite to obey Allah, but they act rebelliously in it. So the decree of punishment is justified, and we destroy it utterly. Imagine how many peoples we have destroyed after Noah, and sufficient is your Lord as all aware and all seeing of the sins of his servants. Whoever desires this fleeting world alone, we hasten in it whatever we please to whoever we will. Then we destine them for hell, where they will burn, condemned and rejected. But whoever desires the hereafter and strives for it accordingly and is a true believer, it is they whose striving will be appreciated. We provide both the former and the latter from the bounty of your Lord, and the bounty of your Lord can never be withheld. See how we have favored some over others in this life, but the hereafter is certainly far greater in rank and in favor. Do not set up any other God with Allah, or you will be condemned and abandoned. For your Lord has decreed that you worship none but him, and honor your parents. If one or both of them reach old age in your care, never say to them even ugh, or yell at them. Rather, address them respectfully. And be humble with them out of mercy and pray, my Lord, be merciful to them as they raised me when I was young. Your Lord knows best what is within yourselves. If you are righteous, he is certainly all forgiving to those who constantly turn to him. Give to close relatives their due, as well as the poor and the needy travelers, and do not spend wastefully. Surely the wasteful are like brothers to the devils, and the devil is ever ungrateful to his Lord. But if you must turn them down because you lack the means to give, while hoping to receive your Lord's bounty, then at least give them a kind word. Do not be so tight-fisted, for you will be blameworthy, nor so open-handed, for you will end up in poverty. Surely your Lord gives abundant or limited provisions to whoever he wills. He is certainly all aware, all seeing of his servants. Do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We provide for them and for you. Surely killing them is a heinous sin. Do not go near adultery. It is truly a shameful deed and an evil way. Do not take a human life made sacred by Allah, except with legal right. If anyone is killed unjustly, we have given their heirs the authority, but do not let them exceed limits in retaliation, for they are already supported by law. Do not come near the wealth of the orphan, unless intending to enhance it, until they attain maturity. Honor your pledges, for you will surely be accountable for them. Give in measure when you measure, give in full when you measure, and weigh with an even balance. That is fairest and best in the end. Do not follow what you have no sure knowledge of. Indeed, all will be called to account for their hearing, sight, and intellect. And do not walk on the earth arrogantly. Surely you can neither crack the earth nor stretch to the height of the mountains. The violation of any of these commandments is detestable to your Lord. This is part of the wisdom which your Lord has revealed to you, O Prophet, and do not set up any other God with Allah, O humanity, or you will be cast into hell, blameworthy, rejected. This is part of the wisdom which your Lord has revealed to you, O Prophet, and do not set up any other God with Allah, O humanity, or you will be cast into hell blameworthy, rejected. Has your Lord favored you pagans with sons and taken angels as his daughters? You are truly making an outrageous claim. We have surely varied the signs in this Quran, so perhaps they may be mindful, but it only drives them farther away. Say, O Prophet, had there been other gods besides him, as they claim, then they would have certainly sought a way to challenge the Lord of the throne. Glorified and highly exalted is he above what they claim. The seven heavens, the earth, and all those in them glorify him. There is not a single thing that does not glorify his praises, but you simply cannot comprehend their glorification. He is indeed most forbearing, all forgiving. When you, O Prophet, recite the Quran, we put a barrier hidden between you and those who do not believe in the hereafter. We have cast veils over their hearts, leaving them unable to comprehend it, and deafness in their ears. And when you mention your Lord alone in the Quran, they turn their backs in aversion. We know best how they listen to your recitation and what they say privately when the wrongdoers say, you would only be following a bewitched man. See how they call you names, O Prophet? So they have gone so far astray that they cannot find the right way. And they say mockingly, when we are reduced to bones and ashes, will we really be raised as a new creation? Say, O Prophet, yes, even if you become stones or iron, or whatever you think is harder to bring to life. Then they will ask, who will bring us back to life? Say, the one who created you the first time. They will then shake their heads at you and ask, when will that be? Say, perhaps it is soon. On the day of on the day he will call you, you will instantly respond by praising him, thinking you had remained in the world only for a little while. Tell my believing servants to say only what is best. Satan certainly seeks to sow discord among them. Satan is indeed a sworn enemy to humankind. Your Lord knows you best. He may have mercy on you if he wills, or punish you if he wills. We have not sent you, O Prophet, as a keeper over them. Say, O Prophet, your Lord knows best all those in the heavens and the earth. We have surely favored some prophets over others, and to David we gave the Psalms. Say, O Prophet, invoke those who claim to be divine besides him. They do not have the power to undo harm from you or transfer it to someone else. Even the closest to Allah of those invoked would be seeking a way to their Lord, hoping for his mercy and fearing his punishment. Indeed, your Lord's torment is fearsome. There is not a wicked society that we will not destroy or punish with a severe torment before the day of judgment. That is written in the record. Nothing keeps us from sending the demanded signs except that they had already been denied by earlier peoples, and we gave Thamud the she-camel as a clear sign, but they wrongfully rejected it. We only send the signs as a warning. And remember, O Prophet, when we told you, certainly your Lord encompasses the people, and we have made what we brought you to see, as well as the cursed tree mentioned in the Quran, only as a test for the people. We keep warning them, but it only increases them greatly in defiance. And remember when we said to the angels, prostrate before Adam, so they all did, but not Iblis, who protested, should I prostrate to the one who you have created from mud? Adding, do you see this one you have honored above me? If you delay my end until the day of judgment, I will certainly take hold of his descendants, except for a few. Allah responded, begone. Whoever of them follows you, hell will surely be the reward for all of you, an ample reward. And incite whoever you can of them with your voice, mobilize against them all your cavalry and infantry, manipulate them in their wealth and children, and make them promises. But Satan promises them nothing but delusion. Allah added, you will truly have no authority over my faithful servants, and sufficient is your Lord as a guardian. It is your Lord who steers the ship for you through the sea so that you may seek his bounty. Surely he is ever merciful to you. When you are touched with hardship at sea, you totally forget all the gods you normally invoke, except him. But when he delivers you safely to shore, you turn away. Humankind is ever ungrateful. Do you feel secure that he will not cause the land to swallow you up or unleash upon you a storm of stones? Then you will find none to protect you. Or do you feel secure that he will not send you back to sea once again and send upon you a violent storm, drowning you for your denial? Then you will find none to avenge you against us. Indeed, we have dignified the children of Adam, carried them on land and sea, granted them good and lawful provisions, and privileged them far above many of our creatures. And now we'll take a brief break here for a message from Al-Furqaan Foundation about the translation that we're reading, the Clear Quran.
The Quran, the holy book that had been revealed by the creator of the universe, the miracle of Islam, and the message of Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Quran is a message, and it must be delivered. Furqaan Project is carrying this responsibility to deliver this message to everyone. Furqaan Project is the #1 distributor of the English translation of the Quran in North America. The translation that was described by a lot of scholars to be the best English translation of Quran so far. Millions of copies have been delivered to houses, prisons, hospitals, dawah organizations, mosques, everywhere. All that you need to do is to sponsor as many boxes of Quran as you can, from 1 box to 1,000. To donate, go to www.furqaanproject.org. You pay only $104 to sponsor 1 box. Sponsor a box now and deliver the message. Sponsor a box now and let America read the Quran.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. Matthew Abdul Haq Niami here. Let me resume my screen share and we'll pick up resuming Surah Al-Isra, the chapter of the night journey, which is Surah 17, chapter 17. I seek refuge in Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin by his name, the name of Allah, the most loving, most merciful. Indeed, we have dignified the children of Adam, carried them on land and sea, granted them good and lawful provisions, and privileged them far above many of our creatures. Beware of the day we will summon every people with their leader. So whoever will be given their record in their right hand will read it happily, and will not be wronged even by the width of the thread of a date stone. But whoever is blind to the truth in this world will be blind in the hereafter, and even far more astray from the right way. They definitely thought they were about to lure you away from what we have revealed to you, O Prophet, hoping that you would attribute something else to us falsely, and then they would have certainly taken you as a close friend. Had we not made you steadfast, you probably would have inclined to them a little, and then we truly would have made you taste double punishment both in this life and after death, and you would have found no helper against us. They were about to intimidate you to drive you out of the land of Mecca, but then they would not have survived after you had left, except for a little while. This has been our way with the messengers we sent before you, and you will never find any change in our way. Observe the prayer from the decline of the sun until the darkness of the night, and the dawn prayer, for certainly the dawn prayer is witnessed by angels. And rise at the last part of the night, offering additional prayers, so your Lord may raise you to a station of praise. And say, my Lord, grant me an honorable entrance and an honorable exit, and give me a supporting authority from yourself. And declare the truth has come and falsehood has vanished. Indeed, falsehood is bound to vanish. We send down the Quran as a healing and a mercy for the believers, but it only increases the wrongdoers in loss. When we grant people our favors, they turn away, acting arrogantly. But when touched with evil, they lose all hope. Say, O Prophet, everyone acts in their own way, but your Lord knows best whose way is rightly guided. They ask you, O Prophet, about the spirit. Say, its nature is known only to my Lord, and you, O humanity, have been given but little knowledge. If we willed, we would have certainly taken away what we have revealed to you, O Prophet, then you would find none to guarantee its return from us. Had it not been for the mercy of your Lord, indeed, his favor upon you is immense. Say, O Prophet, if all humans and jinn were to come together to produce the equivalent of this Quran, they could not produce its equal, no matter how they supported each other. And we have truly set forth every kind of lesson for humanity in this Quran, yet most people persist in disbelief. They challenge the Prophet, saying, we will never believe you until you cause a spring to gush forth from the earth for us, or until you have a garden of palm trees and vineyards and cause rivers to flow abundantly in it, or cause the sky to fall upon us in pieces, as you have claimed, or bring Allah and the angels before us face to face, or until you have a house of gold, or you ascend into heaven, and even then we will not believe in your ascension until you bring down to us a book that you can read. Say, glory be to my Lord. Am I not only a human messenger? And nothing has prevented people from believing when guidance comes to them except their protest. Has Allah sent a human as a messenger? Say, O Prophet, had there been angels walking on the earth, well settled, they would have surely sent down for them an angel from heaven as a messenger. Say, sufficient is Allah as a witness between me and you. He is certainly all-knowing, all-seeing of his servants. Whoever Allah guides is truly guided, and whoever he leads astray, find no guardian for them besides him. And he will drag them on their faces on the day of judgment, deaf, dumb, and blind. Hell will be their home. Whenever it dies down, we will flare it up for them. That is the reward for rejecting our signs and asking mockingly, when we are reduced to bones and ashes, will we be raised as a new creation? Have they not realized that Allah, who created the heavens and the earth, can easily recreate them? He has already set for them a time about which there is no doubt, but the wrongdoers persist in denial. Say to them, O Prophet, even if you were to possess the infinite treasuries of my Lord's mercy, then you would certainly withhold them, fearing they would run out, for humankind is ever stingy. We surely gave Moses 9 clear signs. You, O Prophet, can ask the children of Israel. When Moses came to them, Pharaoh said to him, I really think that you, O Moses, are bewitched. Moses replied, you know well that none has sent these signs down except the Lord of the heavens and the earth as insights, and I really think that you, O Pharaoh, are doomed. So Pharaoh wanted to scare the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, but we drowned him and all of those with him. And we said to the children of Israel after Pharaoh, reside in the land, and when the promise of the hereafter comes to pass, we will bring you all together. We have sent down the Quran in truth, and with the truth it has come down. We have sent you, O Prophet, as a deliverer of good news and a warner. It is a Quran so that you may recite it to people at a deliberate pace. We have sent it down in successive revelations. Say, O Prophet, believe in this Quran or do not. Believe. Indeed, when it is recited to those who were gifted with knowledge before it was revealed, they fall upon their faces in prostration. And say, glory be to our Lord. Surely the promise of our Lord has been fulfilled. And they fall down upon their faces weeping, and it increases them in humility. Say, O Prophet, call upon Allah or call upon the most compassionate, whichever you call. He has the most beautiful names. Do not recite your prayers too loudly or silently, but seek a way between. And say, all praises for Allah, who has never had any offspring, nor does he have any partner in governing the kingdom, nor is he pathetic, needing a protector, and revere him immensely. JazakAllahu-Khairan. Allah, the Almighty, has spoken the truth. That concludes Surah Al-Isra, but we will be starting shortly. Shortly, we will be starting Surah Al-Kahf, one of the, one of the most mysterious surah that we read every Friday, inshallah. Let's see, how do I, here we go, sorry, I was looking for the stop sharing. So I just want to take a moment while I'm switching over to the next surah. I wanted to take a moment to tell you about the Furqaan project. Since the Furqaan project is it's our mission to get the message of the Quran out to everyone in America, inshallah. The clear Quran is a big part of that, since, like I said, it's a translation that's really made for dawah. It's easy to read in modern English. The tafsir is sort of integrated in there with there are footnotes that explain things, but they're short, and a lot of times when it's a lot of times the meaning that some authors might put in a footnote, Mustafa Khattab will just kind of integrate that meaning into the verse, as long as it's not something that's too much outside of the words of the verse. But if it's sort of integral to the meaning of the verse, then he just kind of puts it in there in a way that makes it easy to understand. And one of the things I love about his translation is that he translates taqwa as mindfulness, which I think is kind of the perfect word for our, because in our culture and in this kind of age, where you know, granted, people have been turned on to that idea through Buddhist influenced traditions, but really we should reclaim that as Muslims, and let people know that, you know, these things, the whatever wisdom people find, whatever wisdom people might find in the practices of mindfulness that the Buddhists used, that the much of the same things are in the Muslim tradition as well. The idea that we should be, you know, when you look at the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the way he was mindful of how he did everything, he was, and but the way we do mindfulness is not necessarily just focusing on the thing itself, as a Buddhist might do. We look at the thing itself. We look at what we're doing as a sign of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So, you know, when I'm putting on my clothes and saying, you know, say Bismillah, may Allah give me the good of this clothing and protect me from the evil of this clothing. You're realizing that the clothing is not good or bad in and of itself, but rather whatever good or evil that comes of it, whatever harm or whatever benefit comes from it, is ultimately from Allah. And so you're being mindful of that. You're appreciating the good, seeking refuge from the evil, and keeping yourself mindful of those realities, and also, you know, trying to see those realities as closer, because usually when we think of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, you know, most of us, you know, if our taqwa is not where it should be, we tend to see Allah Subhanahu wa Taala as a theoretical, faraway being, if you will. And subhanallah, he is far exalted above our comprehension. But وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said in the Quran, for when my servants ask about me, I'm near. And know that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. So the more mindful we are of what we're doing, what's going on around us, what's going on in our souls, the more mindful we are of it, the more we become attuned to the realities that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is very close to us. And what that means can only become apparent if you increase your dhikr, increase your taqwa, etc. And we want to, these are things that we learn from the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, and from the Quran itself as well. And we really want this benefit of this mindfulness, and the spiritual benefit that comes from the Quran, from pondering the Quran, to be extended not just to people who already have it. Alhamdulillah, we need to increase what we're doing, but we also want to extend it to more people, inshallah. You know, if we want to invest in the future of this tradition, in the future of Islam in America, we need to make sure we're doing that wisely, because Allah will continue His deen somewhere. You know, Allah does not need us. If we're not upholding the deen, He can make it flourish somewhere else. He can make somewhere else become the pinnacle of civilization on earth, inshallah. But if we want it to be here, or if we want our children to be involved in it, and we want our children's children, and we want our neighbors' children, who maybe are not Muslim now, but inshallah will become Muslim in generations to come, we need to invest in that. If we want people to continue to donate to all the good causes that are out there, Muslim causes, human causes that Muslims should be supporting, if we want people to continue to invest in those, we need to invest in hearts and minds. And the one way we do that is through da'wah. That's one of the primary ways, in fact. And Al-Furqaan, the Furqaan project is, like I said, an effort to get the messages of the Quran out to everyone in America. We use this translation, the clear Quran. Let me share my screen for just a moment here before we resume. And so here's the Furqaan project page. If you go to furqaanproject.org, FURQAAN project.org, you can learn more about what we do. Alhamdulillah, we've distributed over 1.75 million Qur'ans. Sorry, we've printed that many, and we've distributed over 1.2 million. We've gotten 55 hotels to carry the translation. If you're familiar with how hotels often have Gideon's Bible translations in their rooms, we've gotten them to hold Qur'ans as well. And if you go to donate now, from the thousands of people taking Shahada through these efforts, if you want to invest in that, the continuing of that, and get yourself a share in the benefit of that, get yourself a share in the ajr and the reward for that, go to click on the donate now button and sponsor as many boxes of Quran as you can. Every box holds 52 copies of our Dawah copy. Every box costs $104 for that 52 copies. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do, sky's the limit, obviously. Whatever Allah has blessed you with, make sure you spend in His path. And what I really recommend is whatever amount that you can do, make it monthly. Really, that's the most important part. Whatever, you may think, oh, I want to really push myself because it's Ramadan and I want to really get a lot of ajr and get that Ramadan multiplier. So I'm going to do 10 boxes, mashallah. Great. And if you can do that, bismillah, go for it. But I also think, but it's almost even better if you can do 2 boxes a month and just make it monthly and have it go indefinitely. And that way you'll still get that Ramadan multiplier because you started it. You made the intention and you carried out the action of selecting that button, of entering it on your computer, etc. You did that in the month of Ramadan, still get that Ramadan multiplier, but the ajr will be manyfold what the if you just do it as a one time. And it's more than just the amount, because over time it does add up. First of all, it makes it easier for yourself. Second of all, it adds up as more over time. But even if you did it over time and it were approximately the same amount, because it's spread out in a even way, which makes it easier to anticipate what's going to happen for everyone that's working with it, there's actually more benefit from that. If when things are coming in randomly to whatever institution it is, it's good, alhamdulillah. But if we know, okay, we're going to have this such and such funding for this much Quran that we can send out at this time, if we know ahead of time what's happening, that's even better, alhamdulillah. So please select an amount that you feel you can put on auto pay. Don't worry about it, and just just tell your computer, put it on your credit card, your debit card, or what have you. Just have that sadaqah jariyah coming in for the next few years, inshallah. And that's really the best thing that we can do for yourself and for everyone, inshallah, for maximum benefit. So let's resume with our reading of the clear Quran. We'll be picking up here at the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf. And this is the introduction. The clear Quran has introductions for every surah, a little description with the highlights. And then, and if you get a hard copy for yourself at clearquran.org, at this website, theclearquran.org, you can order yourself. They have copies of it that have English only. They have copies of it, editions that are English and Arabic. There's a large print copy if you want to be able to. For some madahib, they say it's okay, especially during this Ramadan, if you're doing tarawih by yourself, but you don't have the hifdh to keep it up every night, you need a big copy to stand on the stand. Is a great gift for yourself, for your family, for anyone, as well as the clear Quran. If you want to give that as a gift for Eid for any families that have kids. So yeah, so get some clear Quran for yourself and sponsor it to be shared with non-Muslims all around the country, inshallah, with the Furqaan project. All right. Sorry, my thing is. It's a little tricky to get. Okay, here we go. All right, Surah Al-Kahf, the chapter of the cave, chapter 18. This Meccan surah takes its name from the story of the people of the cave in verses 9 to 26. According to Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ was asked about the youths who hid in a cave, a king who dominated large parts of the world, and about the spirit. So 18, 9 through 26, verses 83 through 99, and 17, Surah Al-Isra, verses 85 were revealed. The Prophet ﷺ says in an authentic narration collected by At-Tirmidhi, no one's feet will move on Judgment Day until they are asked about 4 things. Number 1, what they did in their youth, how they earned and spent their wealth. Number 3, what did they do with their knowledge? And 4, how they spent their lives. Interestingly, these 4 questions correspond to the 4 stories mentioned in this surah. The story of the youths in the cave, number one. That was number two is the story of the wealthy man with 2 gardens. Number three is the story of Moses and the man of knowledge. And finally, the story of Dhul Qarnayn and his life and travels in the service of Allah. The 4 stories are interjected by warnings to the disbelievers and good news to the believers. Like the story of the people of the cave, some miraculous stories appear in the next surah. So let's begin in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. All praise is for Allah, who has revealed the book to his servant, allowing no crookedness in it, making it perfectly upright, to warn the disbelievers of a severe punishment from him, to give good news to the believers who do good, that they will have a fine reward, in which they will remain forever, and to warn those who claim that Allah has offspring. They have no knowledge of this, nor did their forefathers. What a terrible claim that comes out of their mouths. They say nothing but lies. Now perhaps you, O Prophet, will grieve yourself to death over their denial, if they continue to disbelieve in this message. We have indeed made whatever is on the earth as an adornment for it, in order to test which of them is best in deeds. And we will certainly reduce whatever is on it to barren ground. Have you, O Prophet, thought that the people of the cave and the plaque were the only wonders of our signs? Remember when those youths took refuge in the cave and said, "Our Lord, grant us mercy from yourself and hide us rightly and guide us rightly through our ordeal." So we caused them to fall asleep into a dead sleep in the cave for many years. Then we raised them so that so we may show which of the 2 groups would make a better estimation of the length of their stay. We relate to you, O Prophet, their story in truth. They were youths who truly believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance. And we strengthened their hearts when they stood up and declared, "Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We will never call upon any God besides him, or we would be truly uttering an outrageous lie." Then they said to one another, "These people of ours have taken gods besides him. Why do they not produce a clear proof of them? Who then does more wrong than those who fabricate lies against Allah? Since you have distanced yourselves from them and what they worship besides Allah, take refuge in the cave. So your Lord will extend his mercy to you and accommodate you in your ordeal." And you would have seen the sun as it rose inclining away from their cave to the right, and as it set declining away from them to the left, while they lay in its open space. That is one of the signs of Allah. Whoever Allah guides is truly guided, but whoever he leaves to stray, you will never find for them a guiding mentor. And you would have thought they were awake, though they were asleep. We turned them over to the right and left, while their dog stretched his forelegs at the entrance. Had you looked at them, you would have certainly fled away from them, filled with horror. And so we awakened them so that they might question one another. One of them exclaimed, "How long have you remained asleep?" Some replied, "Perhaps a day or part of a day." They said to one another, "Your Lord knows best how long you have remained. So send one of you with these silver coins of yours to the city, and let him find which food is the purest, and then bring your provisions from it. Let him be exceptionally cautious, and do not let him give you away. For indeed, if they find out about you, they will stone you to death or force you back into their faith, and then you will never succeed." That is how we caused them to be discovered, so that their people might know that Allah's promise of resurrection is true, and that there is no doubt about the hour. When the people disputed with each other about the case of the youth after their death, some proposed, "Build a structure around them. Their Lord knows best about them." Those who prevailed in the matter said, "We will surely build a place of worship over them." Some will say, they were 3, their dog was the 4th, while others say they were 5 and their dog was the 6th, only guessing blindly. And others will say they were 7 and their dog was the 8th. Say, O Prophet, my Lord knows best the exact number. Only a few people know as well. So do not argue about them except with sure knowledge, nor consult any of those who debate about them. And never say of anything, "I will definitely do this tomorrow," without adding, "if Allah so wills." But if you forget, then remember your Lord and say, "I trust my Lord will guide me to what is more right than this." They had remained in their cave for 300 years, adding 9. Say, O Prophet, Allah knows best how long they stayed. With him alone is the knowledge of the unseen, of the heavens and the earth. How perfectly he sees and hears. They have no guardian besides him, and he shares his command with none. Recite what has been revealed to you from the book of your Lord. None can change his words, nor can you find any refuge besides him. And patiently stick with those who call upon their Lord morning and evening, seeking his pleasure. And patiently stick with those who call upon their Lord morning and evening, seeking his pleasure. Do not let your eyes look beyond them, desiring the luxuries of this worldly life. And do not obey those whose hearts we have made heedless of our remembrance, who follow only their desires and whose state is total loss. And say, O Prophet, this is the truth from your Lord. Whoever wills, let them believe, and whoever wills, let them disbelieve. Surely we have prepared for the wrongdoers a fire whose walls will completely surround them. When they cry for aid, they will be aided with water like molten metal, which will burn their faces. What a horrible drink, and what a terrible place to rest. As for those who believe and do good, we certainly never deny the reward of those who are best in deeds. It is they who will have the gardens of eternity, with rivers flowing under their feet. They will be adorned with bracelets of gold and wear green garments of fine silk and rich brocade, reclining there on canopied couches. What a marvelous reward, and what a fabulous place to rest. Give them, O Prophet, an example of two men. To the disbelieving one we gave 2 gardens of grapevines, which we surrounded with palm trees and placed various crops in between. Each garden yielded all its produce, never falling short, and we caused a river to flow between them. And he had other resources as well. So he boasted to a poor companion of his, while conversing with him, I am greater than you in wealth and superior in manpower. And he entered his property while wronging his soul, saying, I do not think this will ever perish, nor do I think the hour will ever come. And if in fact I am returned to my Lord, I will definitely get a far better outcome than all of this. His believing companion replied, while conversing with you, disbelieve in the one who created you from dust, then developed you from a sperm drop, then formed you into a man? But as for me, he is Allah, my Lord, and I will never associate anyone with my Lord in worship. If only you had said upon entering your property, this is what Allah has willed. There is no power except Allah. Even though you see me inferior, perhaps my Lord will grant me something better than your garden, and send down upon your garden a thunderbolt from the sky, turning it into barren waste. Or its water may sink into the earth, and then you will never be able to seek it out. And so all of his produce was totally ruined. So he started to wring his hands for all he had spent on it, while it had collapsed on its trellises. He cried, Alas, I wish I had never associated anyone with my Lord in worship. And he had no manpower to help him against Allah, nor could he even help himself. At this time, support only comes from Allah, the true Lord. He is best in reward and best in outcome. And give them a parable of this worldly life. It is like the plants of the earth, thriving when sustained by waters we send down from the sky. Then they soon turn into chaff, scattered by the wind, and Allah is fully capable of doing all things. Wealth and children are the adornment of this worldly life, but the everlasting good deeds are far better with your Lord in reward and in hope. Beware of the day we will blow the mountains away, and you will see the earth laid bare, and we will gather all humankind, leaving none behind. They will be presented before your Lord in rows, and the deniers will be told, you have surely returned to us all along, as we created you the first time, although you always claimed that we would never appoint a time for your return. And the record of deeds will be laid open, and you will see the wicked in fear of what is written in it. They will cry, woe to us! What kind of record is this, that it does not leave any sin, small or large, unlisted? They will find whatever they did present before them, and your Lord will never wrong anyone. So let's take a brief break here to hear a little message about the Clear Quran and our Dawah efforts from Al-Furqaan Foundation.
I always get invitations to go to schools and teach classes. My favorite class is the Quran. And I've been using all translations of the Quran because they say they're authentic. Old is gold, right? Therefore, you must control yourself. As God says, hence Let thy bearing be middling, and subdue thy vocalism. For most verily, the harshest of all noises is the sound of the ass.
So yeah, so there you get, mashallah, a sample of, I guess, some of the older translations that have been used and continue to be used by some people. So mashallah, the clear Quran, again, is clear modern English, easy to understand, and you know, is aware of certain reactions that kids might have if they hear certain words taken out of context, or even in context, but they, you know, will certainly jump on it. Anyhow, so let us resume with our reading of the clear Quran. We're finishing up with Surah Al-Kahf, the last half of Surah Al-Kahf, and we'll be beginning with verse 50. And remember when we said to the angels, prostrate before Adam. So they all did, but not Iblis, who was one of the jinn, but he rebelled against the command of his Lord. Would you then take him and his descendants as patrons instead of me, although they are your enemy? What an evil alternative for the wrongdoers to choose. I never called them to witness the creation of the heavens and the earth, or even their own creation, nor would I take the misleaders as helpers. And beware of the day he will say, call upon those who you claimed were my associate gods. So they will call them, but they will receive no response, and we will make all share in the same doom. The wicked will see the fire and realize that they are bound to fall into it and find no way to avoid it. We have surely set forth in this Quran every kind of lesson for people, but humankind is the most argumentative of all beings. And nothing prevents people from believing when guidance comes to them and from seeking their Lord's forgiveness, except to meet the same fate of earlier deniers, or that the torment would confront them face to face. So we do not send the messengers except as deliverers of good news and warners, but the disbelievers argue in falsehood, hoping to discredit the truth with it and make a mockery of my revelations and warnings. Those who does who does more wrong than those who, when reminded of their Lord's revelations, turn away from them and forget what their own hands have done? We have certainly cast veils over their hearts, leaving them unable to comprehend the Quran, and deafness in their ears. And if you, O Prophet ﷺ, invite them to true guidance, they will never be rightly guided. Your Lord is the all-forgiving, full of mercy. If he were to seize them immediately for what they commit, he would have certainly hastened their punishment, but they have an appointed time from which they will find no refuge. Those are the societies we destroyed when they persisted in wrong, and we had set a time for their destruction. And remember when Moses said to his young assistant, I will never give up until I reach the junction of the two seas, even if I travel for ages. But when he finally reached the point where the seas meet, they forgot their salted fish and it made its way into the sea, slipping away wondrously. When they had passed further, he said to his assistant, bring us our meal. We have certainly been exhausted by today's journey. He replied, do you remember when we rested by the rock? That is when I forgot the fish. Nothing made me forget it to mention this except Satan, and the fish made its way into the sea miraculously. Moses responded, that is exactly what we were looking for. So they returned, retracing their footsteps. There they found a servant of ours, to whom we had granted mercy from us and enlightened with knowledge of our own. Moses said to him, may I follow you, provided that you teach me some of the right guidance that you have been taught? He said, you certainly cannot be patient enough with me. And how can you be patient with what is beyond your realm of knowledge? Moses assured him, you will find me patient, Allah willing, and I will not disobey any of your orders. He responded, then if you follow me, do not question me about anything until I myself clarify it for you. So they set out, but after they had boarded a ship, the man made a hole in it. Moses protested, have you done this to drown its people? You have certainly done a terrible thing. He replied, did I not say that you cannot have patience with me? Moses pleaded, excuse me for forgetting, and do not be hard on me. So they proceeded until they came across a boy, and the man killed him. Moses protested, have you killed an innocent soul who killed no one? You have certainly done a horrible thing. He answered, did I not tell you that you cannot have patience with me? Moses replied, if I ever question you about anything after this, then do not keep me in your company. For by then I would have given you enough of an excuse. So they moved on until they came to the people of a town. They asked them for food, but the people refused to give them hospitality. There they found a wall ready to collapse. So the man set it right. Moses protested, if you wanted, you could have demanded a fee for this. He replied, this is the parting of our ways. I will explain to you what you cannot bear patiently. As for the ship, it belonged to some poor people working at sea. So I intended to damage it, for there was a tyrant king ahead of them who seizes every good ship by force. And as for the boy, his parents were true believers, and we feared that he would pressure them into defiance and disbelief. So we hoped that their Lord would give them another more virtuous and caring in his place. And as for the wall, it belonged to two orphan boys in the city. And under the wall was a treasure that belonged to them, and their father had been a righteous man. So your Lord willed that these children should come of age and retrieve their treasure as a mercy from your Lord. I did not do it all on my own. This is the explanation of what you could not bear patiently. They ask you, O Prophet, about Dhul Qarnayn, meaning the two-horned one. Say, I will relate to you something of his narrative. Surely we established him in the land, and we gave him the means to all things. So he traveled a course, until he reached the setting point of the sun, which appeared to him to be setting in a spring of murky water, where he found some people. He said, O Dhul Qarnayn, either punish them. So we said, O Dhul Qarnayn, either punish them or treat them kindly. He responded, whoever does wrong will be punished by us. Then he will be returned to their Lord, who will punish them with a horrible torment. As for those who believe and do good, they will have the finest reward, and we will assign them easy commands. Then he traveled a different course, until he reached the rising point of the sun. He found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no shelter from it. So it was, and we truly had full knowledge of him. Then he traveled a third course, until he reached a pass between two mountains. He found in front of them a people who could hardly understand his language. They pleaded, O Dhul Qarnayn, surely Gog and Magog are spreading corruption throughout the land. Should we pay tribute to you, provided that you build a wall between us and them? He responded, what my Lord has provided for me is far better, but assist me with resources, and I will build a barrier between you and them. Bring me blocks of iron. Then when he had filled up the gap between the two mountains, he ordered, blow. When the iron became red hot, he said, bring me molten copper to pour over it. And so the enemies could neither scale nor tunnel through it. He declared, this is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord comes to pass, he will level it to the ground, and the Lord is ever true. On that day, we will let them surge like waves over one another. Later, the trumpet will be blown, and we will gather all people together. On that day, we will display hell clearly for the disbelievers, those who turn a blind eye to my reminder and could not stand listening to it. Do the believers think they can simply take my servants as lords besides me? We have surely prepared hell as an accommodation for the disbelievers. Say, O Prophet, shall we inform you of who will lose the most deeds? They are those whose efforts are in vain in this worldly life, while they think they are doing good. It is they who reject the signs of their Lord and their meeting with him, rendering their deeds void. So we will not give their deeds any weight on Judgment Day. That is their reward, hell for their disbelief and mockery of my signs and messengers. Indeed, those who believe and do good will have the gardens of paradise as an accommodation, where they will be forever, never desiring anywhere else. Say, O Prophet, if the oceans were ink for writing the words of my Lord, it would certainly run out before the words of my Lord were filtered, even if we refilled it with its equal. Say, O Prophet, I am only a man like you, but it has been revealed to me that your God is only one God. So whoever hopes for the meeting with their Lord, then let them do good deeds and associate none in worship, none in the worship of their Lord. JazakAllahu al-Azim. Allah Almighty has spoken the truth. That is Surah Al-Kahf. And again, if you please take the time to share, to sponsor the Quran, and this is the month of the Quran. So please, you know, we Muslims, alhamdulillah, we're very blessed as an ummah to have this book, to know about it, to have the opportunity to ponder it and read it and recite it in the book of, in the Quran, in the month of Ramadan, the month in which it was sent down. So please make that of, you know, the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that you do not believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself, or in some narrations, love for your neighbor what you love for yourself. And this concept extends to everyone in mankind. So if you are enjoying the blessings of Allah, enjoying the blessings of Ramadan, pondering the Quran, please make that possible for other people. And remember, if people embrace Islam, that's more people that can support whatever causes that are also important to Muslims as well. So this causes right now that need to be donated to, of course, and those are, you know, very necessary in the short term. But this really, dawah is the long-term investment in the ummah for the generations to come. So please make sure you pay your dawah taxes. It's an obligation to support, to do dawah for the whole community, for all the ummah. It's upon the ummah as a whole. So do your part, inshallah. If you're perhaps if you're not a very good speaker, or you don't know a lot, or what have you, or you don't know many non-Muslims, or you're shy, what have you, go ahead, and we have people who could do it on your behalf, inshallah. So please go to furqaanproject.org, click on the donate button, and pay your dawah taxes, so that inshallah you can get a share in the growing opportunities for dawah in this country. Jazakumullah. I hope you benefited from listening and got prepared a bit for Taraweeh in the coming night. May Allah bless you. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma inna afuwun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah, you are the pardoner, and you love to pardon. So pardon us. So pardon us, oh Allah. And let us, oh Allah, let us maximize our benefit, maximize the reward and the purification of our souls in this holy month. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. آمين آمين آمين. JazakAllahu-Khairan to everyone listening, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.